Hi guys, today I'm going to do a worked example on bank reconciliation. In the previous video I went through all the differences that you would be faced with bank reconciliation and how to sort them out. In this video I'm going to do a practical worked example, and then in future videos I'll do some more activities on bank reconciliation. And that way you get different ways in which this section can be tested. Alright, if you look at the information here, you are required to do the following. You're required to do the totals of the cash journals. In other words, you don't have to do the entire CRJ and CPJ. You are then required to do the bank reconciliation statement, and then you are asked a couple of theory questions. Alright, so if you look at the information, the first thing they give you here is an extract from the bank reconciliation statement on the 31st of July. Now, if you remember from the previous video, I told you that the bank reconciliation statement from last month shows all the outstanding entries from the bank statement from previous months. That makes it a lot simpler because to see if something is still outstanding, you will simply compare this month's bank statement with this bank reconciliation statement. When you do that, if something is still not recorded by the bank, you're going to have to record it as outstanding again. However, if the bank has now recorded these transactions in the current month, then you are going to leave those out. And the reason for that is because they were outstanding in the bank's books. If the bank has now recorded them, they are no longer outstanding. So if they appear in the bank statement, leave them out. If they are still outstanding, record them as outstanding again. Alright, and then the information here below tells you the outstanding deposit of 12105, that's this one, and the EFT number 141, they appear in the bank statement. In other words, there's no longer a difference between our books and the bank's books, so you will leave those out. If you look at the next one, EFT appeared correctly as 6,600 in the August bank statement. When we recorded this EFT as outstanding, the amount we used was 8,000, but the correct amount is 6,600, which means the business has made an error. The business recorded a payment as 8,000. The payment should only be 6,600. In other words, we need to add back to our bank balance, and the way we do that is we record the difference over here in our cash receipts journal. So we recorded a payment as too much. To fix it, we're adding the money back to bank by recording in our CRJ. Then they tell you as well that the outstanding deposit for 30,000 was never deposited. It was stolen and must be written off. So we had a deposit that we intended for it to be recorded by the bank when the money was taken to the bank, but the money never got to the bank. That means we've got something in our CRJ and we never banked that money. So we need to decrease our bank balance, and you do that by recording the 30,000 under your CPJ. Alright, moving on now. The provisional totals are given to you. So those provisional totals is what you start your CRJ and CPJ off with. Those are usually filled in for you. Anything that was filled in for you, I just typed in black for you. So those were actually filled in on the answer sheet for you. Right, then we move on now, and they tell you the following items appeared in the August bank statement and not in the cash journals. If they're in the bank statement and not in the journals, it means we haven't recorded those entries. So the first one is bank charges. The business hasn't recorded it. Bank charges are a payment, so you will record that under your CPJ total. The next one, a debit order to the municipality for electricity. The bank has processed that debit order. We haven't recorded it yet. We are paying money, so that goes in the CPJ. And then the third one here, a direct deposit received from a debtor for 5,400 Rand the settlement of her account of 6,000 Rand. We need to record that we are receiving money. Now the amount you're going to use here is just the amount of the deposit, which is the 5,400. If you were doing an entire CRJ, you would record 600 Rand as discount. But you're not doing the entire CRJ, so you just record the amount of money that you received. Alright, moving on. The following items reflected differences between the journals and the bank statement. An EFT in favor of a creditor was recorded in the CPJ, but was reflected twice in the bank statement. If you look at that, it is the bank that is wrong here. So they have taken money out of our account twice and should have only taken it out once. So therefore they owe us that money again. So you're going to credit that bank error, showing that the bank owes that money to you. Just as a matter of interest here, you need to leave the first line empty here, so that you've got space to write in the bank statement balance once they give that to you. So I've already typed the answer in, but if you were doing this yourself, you would leave that first line empty so that you've got space for that balance, and then just start with the next transaction, which was that bank error. Right, then they tell you on the 27th of August, an email proof of payment was received for a direct deposit into the business bank account 2910. The bookkeeper entered that in the CRJ, as they thought they should. This did not appear in the bank statement, and it has been discovered that the document received via email was a fake copy. Alright, that means we've lost some more money now. So we recorded that in the CRJ. The money never ever came to us because the email was fake. So to decrease your bank balance, you're going to record that under your CPJ column. Right, then the following entries appeared in the August and cash journals, but not in the bank statement. An EFT for 7,000 Rand dated the 31st of August. If you ask yourself the question, who hasn't recorded the transaction, your answer will be the bank. That will decrease what the bank owes you, so you will debit that EFT. They then tell you that there was a deposit for 16,000 Rand for cash sales. It's in the journals. The bank hasn't recorded it, so therefore you're going to need to record that in the bank recon statement. Okay, and the bank recon statement, this time we will credit it because the bank owes you money for that deposit. Now here's that balance that I was talking about, where you left a line for. The bank statement showed a favorable balance of 24,000. If the balance is favorable, that means the bank owes us the money. So that will be on the credit side of your bank reconciliation statement. Now normally you would post your journals to the ledger, or you'd calculate your ledger balance for this section of work. In this question we haven't done so. What we can do though is we can balance this. Now here is the side, if you look at it, that's a higher total. So you add that side up first, you get 41,800, and you transfer that to 41,800, and then you minus 7,000 over here to get your balancing figure of 34,800, which is your balance in your bank account. If you were doing your bank account, you would then need to make sure that that balance there is exactly the same as the balance brought down at the beginning of the following month of 34,800. So those two numbers, the ledger and the bank recon statement, the balances should be in agreement. Okay, and then you were asked to refer to the transaction A number 3, that's this one here. They tell you that the outstanding deposit for 30,000 was never deposited, it was stolen and must be written off, and they ask you which GARP principle you're applying. You're being conservative here because you haven't even investigated whether you can get any of that 30,000 Rand back from the person that stole it. So you record it straight away. So because you're being conservative, you're going to be following the prudence concept. That's where you are recording the expenses as soon as you know about them. And then one procedure besides division of duties to be implemented to prevent such a loss in future. One way is to actually use a security company, and they are responsible for banking all the money that you receive on a day. The other way is you could actually ask your customers, we don't accept cash, we don't want cash to be paid to us, especially large sums. Please rather use your debit card or an EFT payment. Okay, as I said, I will do future videos on additional activities, but for today, that's all. Thank you.